Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Adam Mohammed Isman and I'd like to welcome you to the English news program on Somaliland National Television. Here to bring you the latest news, let's start with stories making the headlines. Somaliland National Tender Board reaches decision on civil registry. Israel mobilizes troops after targeting 130 sites in Gaza. The chairman of the National Tender Board, Adan Nugal, provided a press conference at his offices in the capital of Somaliland, Hargeisa, where he stated the successful company that has won the contract for instituting civil registry across Somaliland. The chairman of the Somaliland Tender Board, Adan Nugal, held a press conference at his office in the capital of Somaliland, Hargeisa, where he announced the successful tender for the civil registration, recently tendered through the Ministry of Interior in a competition that included over 40 companies. The Civil Registration Act paves the way for detailed data being compiled on Somaliland citizens, intended to continue the spread of peace, stability and development. Somaliland Tender Board Chairman Adan Nugal said in his press conference, "We've been working on this for 2 months and report that a company owned locally has won this contract." Chairman Adan Nugal continued to refer towards the technical committee appointed by the President Ahmed Mohamed Mahmoud, which was attached to the National Tender Board for its considerations. Discussing the selection process, Chairman Adan Nugal said the successful tender had to display the ability to hold data and do the respective job. Chairman Adan Nugal continued to state individuals and political figures that have publicly stated that this process has been tampered with. The chairman of the National Tender Board said, "In response to Jamal or others, it's a holy month where we cannot say bad things, so I'll stick to the facts. The young guys who we saw provided us with the facts, data and belief that they were more than capable of doing this job. In these situations you have to require proof. In these situations you require proof, and I am certain that no person on this board or other appointees have any say on this matter." You're still tuned into the English news program on Somaliland National Television, the only Somali-speaking channel within English news program. And now for our international news in detail. In continuous fighting, Israel has mobilized troops and targeted 130 sites across the Gaza Strip.
It is day 2 of Israel's offensive in the Hamas-dominated Gaza Strip, which Palestinian officials say has killed at least 27 people to date. More than 130 sites were targeted by Israeli warplanes on Wednesday morning, including Hamas command centers and rocket launchers. 4 rockets were fired overnight into Gaza, a military spokesman confirmed. An official in Gaza said the overnight strikes killed 1 militant in South Gaza and an Islamic Jihad operative and 5 relatives in northern Gaza. Israel is mobilizing ground troops in the escalating conflict. The government has instructed the military to deploy forces along the border with Gaza to be ready for any contingency. We have a number of options. Our overriding goal, is to safeguard the people of Israel and to end the launching of rockets from Gaza on our citizens, explained Mark Regev, spokesman for the Israeli Prime Minister. The Israeli military said at least 2 rockets fired from the Gaza Strip on Wednesday were shot down by its Iron Dome defense system. There are fears the military temperature could rise more. "I have been in communication with many different parties during the last few days, regionally and internationally, and especially with the Palestinian factions and leaders from the Hamas movement, warning them that the Israeli government wants to take the situation into a violent circle, and all those I have spoken to reiterated that they are for the continuation of the truce against escalation," Mahmoud Abbas, Palestinian president, said in a television broadcast. There has been reaction from the international community, with President Barack Obama quoted in a German newspaper on Wednesday saying Israelis and Palestinians must be prepared to take risks for peace.
Counting underway in Indonesia for the presidential.
Early exit polls in Indonesia's presidential election show the governor of Jakarta, Joko Widodo, with a slight lead in the race. He's long been the favourite to win the 2-man contest, though his once substantial lead has all but disappeared in recent days, with recent opinion polls showing him running neck and neck with former Special Forces General Prabowo Subianto. Prabowo has run an effective campaign, promising strong government and protectionist policies for the financial and farming sectors. But he's been dogged by allegation of human rights abuses during his time in the military. He was discharged from the Indonesian army for ordering troops to arrest activists, though he was never investigated on any criminal charges and denies any wrongdoing. Outgoing President Susilo Bambang will hand over power to another directly elected president, the first time this has happened in Indonesia's history. Observers say the election has been one of the dirtiest since the return of democracy in 1998, with Widodo forced to deny allegations of Chinese ancestry during the race. Turnout has been high, with some 80% of the country's 190 million voters taking part in the election.
There have been violent worker protests in the Argentinian capital, Buenos Aires, as the country stares a second debt default in the face.
A protest by Argentine car workers quickly deteriorated into violence on the Panamericana highway, leading into Buenos Aires as angry pickets confronted police. The auto parts company Lear has announced mass redundancies, blaming them on the current recession. Unions say it's the fault of the government, pandering to American companies in unpopular debt negotiations. Union Secretary Laura Yampo. This is happening because President Cristina Fernandez's government is doing business and negotiating with imperialists to pay the fraudulent external debt, and for this reason it has to maintain good relations with the American company owners. The government has until July 30th to reach an agreement with hedge funds, suing for full repayment of sovereign bonds which the country defaulted in 2002. It has been holding out, but the American Supreme Court, where the case was heard, ruled in favor of the hedge fund holders. Argentina says payment will send it into its second default in 13 years. Argentina defaulted on $93 billion of its debt in 2002. Two funds acquired some of that debt and have been pushing via the US courts for full repayment, unlike other creditors who agreed discounts on what they were owed. In June, the US Supreme Court's ruling in favor of the funds also said Argentina cannot pay its other creditors if it doesn't pay the funds first.
And that's all the news we have for you today. Thanks very much for watching. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.